Sevens is a faster way to play Blood Bowl. The pitch is smaller, with fewer players and fewer turns. This lets you enjoy a game of Blood Bowl in half the time it would take for a normal game. It's a great way for new players to start, to practice with a new team, or to get multiple games in over a single night. The official rules for Sevens are in the Death Zone expansion, which is relatively affordable by GW standards of books. GW also have a board available specific for Sevens, which is awesome. That said, Sevens was played a long time before GW supported it, and the changes are relatively small from the main game. So in this video, I'm going to give you a breakdown on how to play a one-off version of Sevens. I do recommend picking up the board for convenience, and Death Zone will give you a more in-depth version of the rules, but this should be enough to get you started. Alright, first, getting the team together. Sevens is supposed to be an amateur league, and with only 7 players on the pitch, the team makeup needs to change a little or it will be pretty crazy. So you start with 600,000 to draft your team, and must have at least 7 players and no more than 11. You build from the same team roster as normal, but can have only 4 players who are not linemen. In addition, rerolls cost twice as much as normal to reflect the amateur nature of the league. Once you have a team, we need a pitch. The easiest way is to obviously buy the new GW version, but we can use a normal board. The normal board is 26 squares long and 15 squares wide. If we come in 3 squares from each end zone and 2 squares from each sideline, then you're down to the 20 by 11 squares of a 7 board. Now, when you're marking this, I'd avoid anything that might damage the board itself, like tape on the board. So mark it out with something like wool, strips of paper, or if you have enough scenery to mark it out, that can look great. As we're coming in from the side zones are correct, and the only thing really missing is the central zone of scrummage. During setup, you must have 3 players on your side of the zone of scrimmage. This starts 3 squares back from the normal line, and no more than 1 player in each side zone. As this only matters during setup, it's really not worth marking out. Unlike a normal game, this means that no player is marking an opposing player. So the first player isn't going to be able to block without blitzing. Interestingly, even though the board is smaller, the distance between setting up and scoring is still 13 squares like on a normal board. With that, you're good to put players on the board. Each half is going to last 6 turns rather than a normal 8. During kickoff, the central area will count as the receiving player's half of the pitch for purposes of touchback. The Death Zone book uses a different kickoff table, but you can just use a normal one, changing any references to turns 6, 7, and 8 to 4, 5, and 6, and any references to D3 plus 3 players to D3 plus 1. Similarly, the Death Zone book uses a special injury system, but I'd suggest sticking with the normal system. And that's everything you need to play a one-off game of Sevens with 2 fresh teams. If you want to get into a league or look at advancements, then you should pick up that Death Zone book. Assuming you've just got the starting teams, here are some teams you could try out. For the Black Orcs, we've got 4 Goblin Bruiser linemen, 3 Black Orcs, and 1 trained troll. For the Imperial Nobility team, we've got 3 Retainer linemen, 1 thrower, 2 Noble Blitzers, and 1 Ogre. This should make for a pretty fun game. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and comment. The goal of this channel is to give the best 2-player experience we can for these games. So if that's something you'd like to see more of, subscribe to the channel.